Good morning. Welcome to another Memphis Monday 263. Today we got a kind of an interesting thing. A few months ago, we built a craps rig, practice craps rig, where you throw dice and all that stuff. Well, a friend of mine really liked it, took it home and used it, and then decided in its use that he wished it was smaller and more portable. And I said, well, no problem. Just bring it back and we'll fix it up for you. So today we got some rework. We're going to actually rebuild that craps rig in a different configuration. But let's knock off the chit-chat and get to work. Now here's a craps rig we built. It's got that backstop there with the alligator rubber. But my friend would like me to narrow it down to where it's only that wide. Wants me to cut off about 6 inches or more of the width, keep the length the same way. And I getting a look at it, this is a pretty nice backstop here. It's pretty elegant, but it's awful heavy. And so I think I'm just going to rebuild this thing and recycle this wood, and because this is real nice oak, and make the backstop lighter. Okay, the first thing you got to do is take this cover off this board. Now I want to give myself credit on this because anticipating this thing be taken apart from time to time, I built the, I didn't glue the cover down, it's just stapled around the edges. So I'll just carefully take these staples out and we'll cut the board down to the new size. Pull those staples out. Now we'll lift this board off this cover. Now I've got this white felt glued down to this board, but I think I can just, I want this thing to be about 2 feet wide, so I think I can just run it through the saw and the saw will go through that felt. Let's give that theory a try. I may have felt going everywhere when I try to run. I've never tried to run cloth through a table saw before. Have you? Yeah, that sawing turned out, that cut turned out perfect. Okay, now I'm going to try to position this board back on this cover. Now let's staple this thing down. I'm going to use this air-powered stapler. It's the exact same thing as this, only it's air-powered. Everybody has one of these. and they work fine. But if you can do a lot of stapling, one of these is really convenient. Well, there's our cover. It's got a little sawdust on it, but I'll vacuum that off later. I don't think I'll use any of the wood in this old backstop, but I will be using this alligator skin here. Anticipating that this may be recycled, I only put a few staples in it when I put it together. Try to take it apart without ripping the rubber. And it's going to punch through. So we basically need a backstop that will hold up this alligator skin here. Only we want to make it much smaller and lighter. When I built this, the other one here, I put these corner braces here in, and these corner blocks, you couldn't see them because the alligator skin went around them, but it made it very, very strong. But it's also very heavy. I think it's primarily heavy because I made it out of oak. I think I'll make our replacement similar design, but I'm going to make it out of plywood. Now here's a mock-up of the new smaller box. Let's see if we can rig this up in here. See how that's going to work. Okay, it'll be about like that. In the original, I had these corner blocks in there, and I also had this top angle brace across the top. In the new design, I'm gonna retain that corner block, but I'm not gonna put this top brace in there, trying to save some weight. So I'm essentially gluing these in. And I'm just putting some long brads in to hold them until the glue dries. The weight of the thing is going to be held up in the corners by these corner blocks, but in the front I'm going to add these cleats so it'll sit on the cleats. The cleats could potentially carry some weight, so I'm going to install them using staples. Might crack this oak, I don't know. We'll try. before I install that backstop, that rubber backstop, I'll go ahead and put some finish on this thing. This is some of that fast drying polyurethane, so it'll get where we can handle it pretty quick, and we'll install that backdrop and we'll be done. We can test drive it. Well, the polyurethane is kind of dry. I'm going to go ahead and tack this thing in. I'm using these tiny little staples here. And in case we have to take it apart again, I'm only going to put about 4 in there. Put one in here at the top. Put a couple down here at the bottom. Maybe one down here. Well, there it is. This thing is removable. It's about half the size of the other one. It's got the little ledges here that hold it up if it's hanging over the edge of the table. It's got these blocks down in the corners that reinforce the corners, but also prop it up on the playing field. Okay, there's our updated craps practice rig for Memphis Monday 263. We made the backboard. The other one was very large. It's over there. This one is shorter. We narrowed that table down to 2 feet. It was 2.5 feet wide. Kept the length the same. I think it's going to work. Well, that'll do it for Memphis Monday 263. We reworked the craps rig we made a few months ago. That's a continuing theme with me. I tend to make things too heavy, and then they're not practical. I've got that problem with my oak stairs we made. It's been a year ago, but they're so darn heavy that it's just hard to work with. I do that all the time, and today we lightened this thing down and made it smaller and more easy to work with. So perhaps that's a takeaway. The takeaway is, you try to make things as small and as light as you can and still be, functional. Well, anyway, like and subscribe and share and favorite and comment and all the stuff you do on the internet. But most important, make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.